Coming up on the Cowboys Report, when Dak Prescott gets his new contract, is it going to be a record one for the Dallas Cowboys? Speaking of contracts, what about Ezekiel Elliott's deal? What could that generally look like here for the Cowboys? And non-contract wise, is it a make or break year for Taco Charlton? I think you guys know the answer to that one, but all that and more is coming up on the Cowboys Report. And welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI. I am your host, Tom Downey. Let's dive into those Cowboys rumors. First up, is Dak Prescott going to become the highest paid Cowboy ever? Yeah, this one's going to be 4 stars. Once this deal gets done, and there's no reason to think it's not going to get done at some point, Dak's going to set the mark. And that's even, by the way, if Dak Prescott takes a discount. A pretty steep one even. He's going to get paid in a big, big way. Their current leader is DeMarcus Lawrence at $21 million a year. Even on the absolute lowest end for a reasonable Dak Prescott contract, he's going to get paid in a big, big way. In fact, I fully expect Dak to easily surpass the figure that DeMarcus Lawrence had. Here's the quote from Stephen Jones about how when you're getting ready to pay a franchise quarterback, referring to Tank as the highest paid Cowboy ever, he's probably not getting the line. Now, I've seen some people out there take this out of context and make it seem like Dak's going to be the highest quarterback ever paid in the NFL, and that eventually it'll go away. While that could technically be true, that wasn't what Steven was talking about. He's talking about Dak Prescott relative to DeMarcus Lawrence, relative to Tony Romo, relative to the likes of Zach Martin and Tyron Smith. So once Dak gets paid, he's going to be the highest paid player in Cowboys history. Now, for a long time, that mark was held by Tony Romo, who, when he signed his deal, was making $18 million a year. Now, I'll make note here, by the way, with the way the salary cap has gone up, if you gave Tony the same contract he got then, but in today's salary cap, it's going to look a lot like the $28 or so million deal, $29 million, whatever it is, that Dak Prescott ends up getting. So the sticker shock's way different for Dak Prescott, but that's because the salary cap has grown in such a massive way in the past couple years that it's vaulted up all the quarterback contracts and really any contract out there. Again, here are my projected contract details for Dak Prescott. 5 years, $147.5 million. You can up it down a little bit there, around $81 million guaranteed. Comes in just a bit south of 16% of the cap. I don't like the way the quarterback market is, but that's what the quarterback market dictates, that a franchise young quarterback like Dak Prescott would get. Heck, you probably get even more on the open market. There are quite a few teams that would love to throw money at Dak Prescott if they ever got the chance. Now, today's show is brought to you guys by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120. Gets you a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $50. They're going to give you $60 for free to bet on the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the Masters if you're into golf like I am, and of course, the NFL draft. We'll stick with contracts here. Is Zeke going to get $14 to $16 million? I'm going to give this one 3 stars. This one does feel pretty likely. It's not quite 4 because I don't know if he's going to get fully to 16, but assuming the Cowboys do work out a long-term deal with Zeke Elliott, it's going to come in around that number. That's where it's going to be. Now, Zeke is due for that extension in the relatively near future. I don't know if it's going to happen this offseason because he's under contract longer than Dak Prescott, than Amari Cooper, even Byron Jones. There's no reason to do it necessarily right now. So if and when he gets that big fat deal, and I think it's going to be more of the when he gets that deal, he's going to be the highest paid running back in the NFL. Todd Gurley still holds that mantle, $14.4 million. And remember, the cap goes up. That's going to bump up Zeke still as well. I would not be surprised if it's a $15+ million deal for Zeke Elliott. But if the Cowboys are smart, they'll say, Zeke, we had your back the entire time during that suspension. Maybe you should just take Todd Gurley's deal instead, and they'll use what Le'Veon Bell got as leverage as well. Now, I think we're all in agreement here. Zeke is a fantastic player. One of the best in the NFL, absolutely incredible, so dynamic, so talented, and the focal point of the Cowboys offense. So my question to you, is Zeke worth $16 million per year? Most of you don't really like the numbers we throw out for Dak Prescott. What about 16 for Zeke? Give me a yes or no in the comment section. I'll watch it here flow in. I'm very curious what the answers here are. And I think down the road, we'll have a nice little Zeke Elliott contract projection for you guys. We'll stick on the offensive line now. Is it going to be Connor Williams versus Xavier Su'a-Filo in a battle for the left guard position? This one feels likely. It's a 3 stars for me as well, because why wouldn't it be? Last year, the Cowboys took Sewell in the 2nd round, and it gave him the job. They did not expect to have a guy like Xavier Su'a-Filo look competent in the end, and that's what happened last year. Now, make no mistake here. There will be a training camp competition, but the Cowboys want Connor Williams to win that role. They spent a 2nd-round pick on him. They want that. They want him to be the guy. That's why then the Cowboys, more than even other teams out there, they want their young early picks. They'll do almost anything, give them a lot of leeway to make a big impact. Look at Taco Charlton. Look at Randy Gregory. Look at some of those other type players there. So for Sewell, I think that makes a lot of sense as a left guard there, being the go-to guy for the Cowboys. So versus the 2 battles there, and the numbers kind of bear this out. We'll show those up, I'm sure, at some point later on down the road. But they're pretty similar, and Williams is younger. And by the way, down the stretch, and this is very, very telling and very important as far as I'm concerned, Connor Williams was the one who played in the playoffs. That's a clear indication of who the Cowboys value more. So there will be a competition, because competition is always, always good. So from the Cowboys' perspective, it makes a lot more sense to hope that Connor Williams ends up being the guy there long term. And worst case scenario, Xavier Su'a-Filo, who was a bust for the Texans, ends up being a good, if not very good, backup, along with Joe Looney, who I think will be the go-to backup interior offensive lineman overall. But I have a tough time seeing the Cowboys moving Looney to left guard. I think they'd rather keep him as that swing backup guy, because I fully expect, and the Cowboys do as well, Travis Frederick to be good to go there long term. But again, there will be that competition between Connor Williams and between Xavier Su'a-Filo, but I expect, I think the Cowboys want this to happen too, that Connor Williams will end up winning that job as well. So again, here are the raw numbers against these two. Thank you, producer Brett, for fixing my mistake there. Sewell played more snaps, actually allowed fewer sacks. Now, the big thing for Connor Williams, and you guys pointed out, and you're right, he kind of loses ugly. Like when he gets beat, it's really, really obvious. Kind of like how when Dak misses, it's super obvious. And the PFF grade is just one metric here. That's a pretty steep difference there. So who should start at left guard? W for Connor Williams, S for Xavier Su'a-Filo. You guys know I was a big fan of Connor Williams coming out of the NFL draft. I love the pick. I still want to be the guy. He does need to get stronger, but I think he's going to win the starting job in the end at left guard. Speaking of highly drafted picks, yeah, that makes sense. Is it a make or break year for Taco Charlton? 4 stars on this one. I think you guys all agree with this with me here. He got to step up. So far, Taco, as a first-round pick, has been a disappointment. And there is some reason to have some hope here. He's only entering his 3rd year. He might get more reps this season. But if he doesn't step up this year, there's not a lot of faith to have that all of a sudden Taco Charlton's going to step up and be that guy for you. So I hope that he does it. I hope that it happens. I hope that this is the year that Taco Charlton at least shows some promise for you. Because we had a couple of flashes at one point earlier on in his career, but we haven't seen great production. And I saw someone in the comments say that D-Law didn't step up until year 4. He had 8 sacks in year 2, though. And he showed some playoff stuff before that in that first year. So it's not quite as extreme, but you do hope that, hey, maybe Taco figures it out this year. So over-under, 4 sacks for Taco in 2019, giving an O for over and a U for under. The 4 sacks there, by the way, his career number. So will he match it, yes or no? Let's move then to the NFL draft. Is there not going to be a safety taken on day 2? I'm going to give this 1 star. You can never say never to almost anything in the NFL draft, but I would be very surprised, even more so, very disappointed if the Cowboys didn't find a safety on day 2 of the NFL draft. Now, Mel Kiper put out his A-plus draft, and the Cowboys got Gerald Willis and Jalen Hurd. I like both those guys. Not on day 2, at least for Hurd. He is a day 3 guy for me because he's all upside, really. Gerald Willis, meanwhile, I like him in round 3. Where's your safety? Why are you taking an early round receiver in Jalen Hurd? If you're going to go receiver at that point, I'd like somebody else. That's not an A-plus draft for me. That's a little bit underwhelming. Now, there is a scenario in which the Cowboys don't get a safety. That's why it's the 1 star. Namely, if they're all gone. If all the safeties are off the board Abrams gone, Taylor Rapp is gone, Darnell Savage is gone, which had happened once or twice in some simulations I've done, well, then maybe the Cowboys are in a bit of a rough spot there, but I would be very surprised. At that point, they might try to trade up too. So I don't think that's a very likely outcome here. Now, mark your calendars, guys. Next Thursday, we're always live at 4 p.m. Eastern. We will do a fan-led mock draft. We'll let you guys make the picks. We'll run our simulation. I'll point out some of the names on the board for you guys, and you guys can make the selections. So instead of making fun of me for my bad picks, maybe I'll make fun of you for some of your bad picks. Of course, I think we'll make some nice selections there. So again, make sure you're subscribed. YouTube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. One more draft rumor, then some news items here. Is running back the number 1 need? I'm going to give this 1 star as well. I kind of get where fan side it's coming from because it is a need. You want some depth behind Zeke. You want to lessen his workload if you want to pay him big money. But I don't know if going as the number 1 need is regular. I'm looking at safety. I'm looking at defensive line instead. So it's a need. It's even the top 5 need for me because I think it's the top depth need overall. Safety is your number 1 need. I want a defensive tackle who can make an impact in year 1. That's probably a round 3, maybe round 4 guy. And then running back is your top depth need. Receiver, tight end, defensive end, offensive line, corner. Those are all kind of grouped together as 3A, 3B, 4B, whatever you want to call it, because they need more depth in the long term. So I don't like the idea of running back being the go-to need there for the Cowboys. I would rather go elsewhere at the top of, or especially the late part of round 2. All right, folks, we will have our little live Q&A here in just a little bit. So use hashtag Cowboys to have your questions featured on the show. Again, hashtag Cowboys. Producer Brett's got some already. We grabbed some earlier. We'll get to those here in just a little bit. But those news items. Parker Ehinger's been cut by the Cowboys. In hindsight, not a great trade. I liked it at the time. You signed an undrafted free agent in Travarius Ward, flipped him for a depth on the offensive guard, and then Ehinger gets hurt, never plays a game for the Cowboys, gets cut. Meanwhile, Ward's been a nice backup guy for the Chiefs, where the Cowboys actually are a little bit thin on the outside at corner. So I liked the deal at the time, but in hindsight, the Chiefs definitely won this one. He was cut on Wednesday. Now, Ehinger was not the only player cut by the Cowboys on Wednesday. Aziz Shittu was also cut, and yes, make fun of his name if you want. It's a pretty funny one. He spent some time on the Cowboys practice squad. I didn't think he was ever going to make the roster. When they signed Shakir Soto, it kind of made Aziz a little bit darker spot than he was actually making the roster. So he is on his way out. No, maybe not a huge surprise there. So Cowboys, again, not a big deal on this one. The more notable one for me was Ehinger, who I actually was a little bit surprised he ended up getting cut by the Dallas Cowboys. And then finally, La'el Collins. Now, I saw some people freaking out, and I get why, because surgery is always concerning. La'el Collins had this after the season ended. This is a months-old surgery to repair a torn rotator cuff. He has promised he is going to be good to go for training camp. So I still want some offensive line depth because Collins is going to be a free agent. Tyron's back is always an issue. You got Cam Fleming and really nobody else. So I like the idea of drafting a lineman, but I'm not concerned about Collins not being ready for week 1. If I've got to rank all the guys that had surgery in terms of concern, it's Byron Jones at the top, actually, then DeMarcus Lawrence, and then way down here off screen is La'el Collins. He should be back for camp. I'm not concerned whatsoever on that front for the Cowboys. So nothing to panic about there, but it is worth monitoring if you are the Dallas Cowboys. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.